Hi Exiles. I get a ton of questions and comments about farming divines, Magebloods, and gold. While we watch some of my builds running wave 15s in Simulacrum, I will do my best to explain. I'm going to be brutally honest. No over-the-top fantastical strategy to try and get views, just the truth. I used to be frustrated and broke from many leagues when I first started. My buddy that got me to play this game always seemed rich. In fact, he would often have to help me out getting gear for my builds. The ugly truth is that it was my own fault. I used to browse on the PoE trading site for gear I couldn't afford and sit in my hideout counting the few chaos orbs I got from running a couple of maps, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why I ran maps. And my buddy ran maps, but he was rich and I was poor. There are many things I do now differently. I finally learned my lesson. First, if you have a degree in crafting, this video is probably not for you. I can craft a little, but I think most of us casual players have to rely on what we can buy from the folks that do craft. That is a science that this old man will probably never get. But that does bring me to my first strategy. As soon as I can, I try to learn how to craft one item that the meta builds will be using. This league, it was actually 2 items because the crafting method was the same. Boots and gloves for int/mana stacking builds. It would take me about 4 divines of materials to craft each, and they sold easily for 20 to 40 divine each depending on how lucky the rolls I got were. Then I noticed from all the time I did spend on the PoE trade site browsing that there was certain days and times when items sold for more. For example, when I bought my last Mageblood. At night the cheapest was 215 divines, but when I get up for work and looked, I got one for 190 divines. I didn't mean to jump ahead to Magebloods, but that was the best example I had fresh in my mind. So let's go back to how I got the 4 divines to craft with. Obviously, at the beginning of a league, my goal is to get to maps. I used to waste every bit of currency trying to get better gear that I was just going to grow out of in a few levels. Now, the only thing I farm is a tabula running blood aqueducts over and over for the humility divination cards. Then use whatever else I can find as an upgrade. No more shopping before maps. When I get to maps, the only strategy I'm looking to do is sustain maps. So as I work on completing the Atlas, I put my points wherever I can to get more maps to drop. And here's where my first secret comes into play. When you get maps, run them, manage your time, and deal with dying every now and then. Just run maps and pick up anything you can sell. I don't do heists, but I pick up all the coins and blueprints that drop because they will sell. And even though I'm not a huge crafter, I pick up all the crafting mats I can. Then when I have a good amount, I sell them. The real secret to making currency is in the game creator's name, just reversed. Instead of grinding gear games, if you play the game to get gear, you have to grind. Going back to my buddy, while I ran 10 maps and hung around my hideout staring into my empty stash and checking out the PoE trade site, he had already run 100 maps. I know that is probably not what you want to hear, but it works every time. There is no better strategy in this game than consistency. It does get better and easier, but at first you have to grind for a while. Secret number 2, also from my buddy, pick a strategy that your build is good at running. It really doesn't matter too much what strategy you do, whether it is harvest, heist, boxes, breaches. It only matters that your build is good for running what you picked. Pick one and stick with it and go all in on it. Secret number 3, for this league anyway, was to only spend my gold on upgrading my town. Then I got farmers, miners, and shipping crews to level 10. Then gold just goes to keeping them working. Save up until you can ship 50 million worth of stuff to the closest port. It doesn't take too long with level 10 farmers. I would get anywhere from 200 to 300 divines from those shipments. You get mirror shards, divines, exalts, chaos orbs, and tons of smaller currency, and crafting mats, and even some usable gear. At this point, I was able to make another build to farm T17 maps. Running toxic sewers for T17 maps was super fast, and it was almost like printing divines. Yes, I had the urge to run a few of them, and I did, but then I stayed focused and stocked them up to sell. All the while stacking gold just because I was running the maps, plus everything else I picked up while running them. After that, I was able to make builds that made the grind fun, fast, and open up some new opportunities like farming Ubers and other more rewarding strategies. I realize it is late in the league for me to answer this stuff, but it will still work in some form or another in the next league, and I'm sure it will be similar even in PoE 2. Thanks for watching, and best of luck to you all. Until next time, This is Old Man Gaming wishing you happy gaming. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.